Coming up this week on the Nintendo Directors Podcast, it's the Smash-ageddon! The long-awaited Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is finally here, and we've got tons to say about it. Plus, we give our top 5 Super Smash Bros. Stages, and we also do a retrospective review of all of the main themes from each of the Smash games. It's going to be a whole lot of fun, all that, and a whole bunch more.
Hi, I'm Mark.
And I'm Brad.
We're two middle school band directors.
And you're listening to
Nintendo Directors. Greetings and welcome once again to another Nintendo Directors podcast. This is episode number 3037. The date that you're getting this is December 13th. Today we are recording on December 9th. And Smash has been out for a few days, and that's a wonderful thing. My name is Mark Lego, and I'm here with my co-host Brad Beyer.
Hey there.
And we are an every other week podcast. If this is your first time listening, we are the Nintendo Directors, and we record usually on Sunday nights right before the work week starts. And the work week for us is teaching kids, because we're two band directors who happen to love all things Nintendo's. We wave sticks at kids for a living by day and roast those same kids and Smash Online at night. And on our show, we give impressions of the most pertinent Nintendo news and game releases. We do deep dives into video game soundtracks on many episodes. We wax nostalgic about our favorite games from the past and so much more. By the way, if you haven't checked us out on YouTube, we've got Brandon Pruitt with us again tonight. He's going to be doing our video for us, and he's been doing a smashing job of making those videos. I see what you did there. Yes, what did I do? No, that was terrible. We'll edit that in post. We'll cut that out. But no, he's been doing a great job. Yep, it is a profession devoted to bad humor. But anyways. Yeah, so he's been doing a great job of getting videos up for us, and where you can actually see us talk to each other and see our lovely mugs. But anyways, yeah, so if you haven't checked us out, go check us out on YouTube. Also, we are on a lot of podcasting services. I'm going to say a lot. If you get podcasts from any major service, we're on that. Most
likely.
Yeah. And if you haven't reviewed us on iTunes, please go do that. That would be fantastic of you. Also, if you want to email in, you can email and be a part of the show at nintendodirectorspodcast@gmail.com. And we try to post every other Thursday at 9 a.m., give or take. And let's stop yammering and get into the amazing news of the week. So I'll shut up, and next up is the news. All right, the news. The news this week is brought to you by potentially you. You could be our first sponsor and fill this void when we launch our Patreon, which will be launching by the end of the year. Yes, you heard it here first, folks. Whatever.
And second.
Yes,
and
second. Yes, but it will be launching by the end of the year, which means in the next few weeks. So we have our next episode after this one is our end of year game awards show, and that's a live one that we do, and we'll be debuting our Patreon video and page at that episode. So. Yeah, if you would like to help out and pitch in a buck or two, think of it as an online tip jar. If you consume this podcast, we would love it if you'd give $1 or so to the cause. It does cost money to produce these things and to keep equipment up to date. And yeah, that would be fantastic. But that's going to be launching sometime in the next few weeks. So yeah,
awesome,
cool. But let's talk about the news.
Well, let's go into that. So, the only news I really want to care about is that Smash is out, but. There are
all
other
right,
things
on to what we've been playing. No, okay.
So the Game Awards, they happened. We've been looking forward to these, or at least I have, for several weeks now. And this, of course, has become quite the event, really, in the gaming industry over the last 5-6 years or so that they've been doing it. Jeff Keighley, he's sort of the guy who kind of runs the whole thing. Just been really impressed with the show that he puts on every year and the feedback that he seems to take every year, and just keeps getting better and better. And he's just a really stand-up, very professional guy. He does a great job with it. So this year's Game Awards was no exception. It was fantastic. So much, just a lot of good stuff. I mean, right even from the get-go, just a really special moment. Again, Mark didn't see the whole thing, but there was a really cool moment where right at the beginning of the show, there was. They brought on Reggie, our good buddy Reg, and Phil Spencer from the head of Xbox, and Sean Layden from PlayStation. They got them all on the stage at the same time, and they gave sort of a little speech, together about just how games bring us together and the unity that brings us all together on a night like this. And so it was really cool, a really special moment for that. So but that was really neat. But in terms of actual news for Nintendo fans that came out of the Game Awards, there actually wasn't a lot in terms of game awards given out to Nintendo, unlike last year, where Zelda won all the things.
The Zelda Awards.
The Zelda Awards. That's right. And Mario got at least one award, I think, in there. Yeah. But yeah, so this year there weren't really a ton of awards for Nintendo games, and part of that, I think, of course, is because they have a deadline for when games can come out and when they can get nominated and all that, and so any game that's released in December, like Smash, cannot be considered for that year. So I guess technically we could see Super Smash Bros. Ultimate show up at next year's Game Awards, but
that'd feel weird. But yeah,
my guess is it won't. Well, who knows? I guess, but there it is.
It feels like that ship would have sailed, but who knows? Yeah,
right. It's unfortunate, but Smash will of course be still open for all of the general gaming news outlets, end of the year awards, and of course the most prestigious Nintendo Directors award show coming up in 2 weeks. So anyway, so what did we actually learn from the Game Awards new announcement? That's one of the cool things about this show, is that they bring in all kinds of great new trailers and new announcements and things. The most important thing is that we learned the first DLC character for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate that is coming, and honestly, it completely caught me by surprise. I had absolutely no idea, and it is Joker. Not from the Batman. Sorry. I know you got excited there for a second. So it's Joker from Persona 5, the main character in that game. Haven't played it myself, but I know there were quite a few people who were extremely excited about this. And honestly, Persona 5, my goodness, Persona 5 is a PS4 exclusive.
Right.
I mean, over the years, there's been one or two Persona games released on Nintendo platforms, but Persona 5 specifically was a PS4 exclusive, which just blows my mind. There's no rules anymore. It's just like it's pretty crazy. And I actually had to learn this secondhand, later after the awards finished, because not quite. I didn't get to see the whole trailer, because in my luck, I'm sitting there waiting because I know there's going to be some big announcement the whole evening. So excited. Is it going to be Metroid Prime Trilogy? Is it going to be a Metroid Prime 4, trailer or something? Or is it going to be the Smash DLC? I knew it was something on that level, right? And just like when we were watching the E3 Direct, back in May or June, something crazy happened, and I missed a bunch of the show because I was sitting there watching the Game Awards on my laptop, and I had I knew it was I had been told it was only going to be about 2 hours or so, and so I knew I had enough battery charge left to get through the whole show without plugging in, and well, it went longer than 2 hours, and but even then, I was keeping an eye on it. I was paying attention. It was 38 minutes left, 35 minutes left, whatever. And then my power saver thing went on, and it went up even higher, back to 40 minutes or whatever. And so I had plenty of time left. We're getting towards the end of the show, right? This is sort of one of the big finale things. And then all of a sudden, my computer's just you know what? We want to play it safe, so we're just going to shut down right now. And I don't know why, because it told me I had 32 minutes left, and then anyway, it just shut down, and so I had to reboot the whole thing, and then I missed a lot. And so I was really annoyed about that. But in the end, we did get to see the announcement. And this is, again, although it's not a game that I'm super into, I think the reveal trailer, as usual, was spot on. Just, surprising and just, people, because it wasn't specifically a Nintendo Direct or anything, it was what's going on here? People didn't know, and then all of a sudden it was revealed that the character in the video gets this invitation. It's got a letter, and then it's got the seal on the letter is the Smash icon, and so it's traditional Sakurai Smash Brothers announcement style, just top notch. Like they're so good at that. They're the best actually at those kind of things.
I agree. Yeah,
they're just the best. So, but man, if this is gonna be the beginning of what the DLC is like, man, the sky seems to be the limit here.
Could we see Froggy from Dusty Diamond's All-Star Softball?
We might.
Man, that would be sweet if they brought someone from that. Diablo.
So the only limiting factor that some people are still talking about is that so far, even of the 75, 76 characters now, I think, they've all still been from Japanese-made games. There's still never been a Western-developed mascot character of some kind.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So we'll see. The big barriers, or the big Western ones that people have been clamoring for a long, long time now, are Crash Bandicoot and Banjo-Kazooie. So, but again, who knows? They're just, this could be their one high level announcement, and the rest could be like, Goomba.
I would love if Goomba was playable. That would be sweet. And just to be clear, when I said Diablo, I wasn't referring to bringing a character from the game Diablo. Diablo is a character in Dusty Diamonds with a giant mace of a bat that he uses. So, anyways.
Okay, so that was the big announcement from the Game Awards. But there was more. There were more games that were announced. One that completely took me to surprise. Like And he, Jeff Keighley in the show even said it, like, this didn't leak, and you're not going to believe this. And sure enough, we were shown a trailer for Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3.
And it's cross-platform.
Nope.
Wait, what?
Exclusive to Switch.
That's insane.
This is crazy. Did you ever play any of the Ultimate Alliance games, Mark?
No, but I did watch the trailer for that, and it looked really cool. And I just thought, this is a game that's exclusive to Switch. Like
right.
It's yeah.
I don't know. Like I played one of them, or at least I played part of one of them. I remember. I think it was in high school or something. It was either the first or the second. I really don't remember. And we had. I had a bunch of friends over, and we just had rented it. And I honestly didn't really know what it was. I wasn't familiar with a lot of the Marvel licenses or anything. Excuse me. And I think that was the one we played. So anyway, it's sort of this gauntlet style, almost isometric brawler sort of thing, and you're just beating lots of dudes up, but you get to use all the iconic characters from Marvel. So that's pretty neat.
And you get to use only the Switch to play it. So
that's right.
It's kind of crazy.
So.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming this will be the first one that has online play. I'm guessing, but
yeah,
who knows? And then the other one that people they had been teased a little bit, but people were like, "Is this really a real thing?" Crash Team Racing, Nitro Fueled, which is sort of a remake of the classic Crash Team Racing, kart racer from the PlayStation era.
Yeah.
What do you have to say? Go.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I go back and play Mario Kart 64, and it's nigh unplayable, and compared to newer Mario Karts. And people talk about Crash Team Racing as being great, and I played it like 3 or 4 years ago. My brother owned it. It's not that good. I liked it back in the day. I also liked Super Mario Kart 64 back in the day.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, whatever. That's fine. I mean, people have been clamoring.
People have been really, really high on that game. And again, the updated visuals are there, and I'm assuming they'll tweak a few things here and there.
Yeah.
So I know there were some people who were extremely excited about that announcement, especially for the people after they got the Crash trilogy, the Insane trilogy.
Yeah.
This is like the icing on the cake. Apple on the cake. Yes,
the apple on the cake. By the way, we're in concert season right now, which means we don't sleep. So, yeah.
That's right. Fortnite got an update. Maybe you can speak to this a little bit.
Yeah. So Risky Reels is now the block, and I think it was the block that was hovering over the lake area. I'm assuming. I didn't see the big event at the end of season 6 launching season 7, but there was a block that was floating in the air, and then now there's just this block that has destroyed Risky Reels, this old rundown drive-in theater. And it's a place where user-made content from the creative mode will be featured. That you'll be able to play in that, and it seems like it's in very early access. I think that because you can do creative mode. They've been kind of like teasing that for a couple seasons now, where they'd bring that out for like a week or two and let people mess around with it, and then it would go away. And so now I think like the idea is that if you make something really sweet and it gets noticed by the makers, they'll dump it into that part of the island on the block. And my first experience with the block was playing Fortnite this last week, and I was just like, what happened to the movie theater? Oh, it says the block, and it's just a concrete square that you can go stand on. Whatever. Wow. That must be something. And then I read up on this, and sure enough, yeah. So it's going to be user-made content will be going into it, which, that just means that in the next year or two, all of it will just be user-made content, and they won't need to do anything anymore. But I don't know.
But they'll still make all the money.
All of the money. So on a free-to-play game.
Have you met? I mean, from what I understand, the creative mode is where you can basically create your own islands, right?
Yeah.
Like your own level.
Yep.
Or Fortnite Battle Royale.
Yeah, there are people that are getting really into it, just like with anytime you get a creative, sandbox type deal in any kind of game, people push the limits to what you can do. So I honestly, I've looked at like 1, 2, or 3 minute video of somebody's pretty cool creation in creative mode, and I actually stopped that video a few minutes in because I was like, I'm going to give this like a month, and then I'm going to go see because what I'm seeing right now, it looks cool, but it's absolutely going to be topped tenfold within a month. So I'm just I'm interested to see how this evolves from here. So
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Let's see. So that's the Fortnite update, and there's a 16-bit Stranger Things game coming out now. This is really interesting. I mean, I think they've been talking about doing a Stranger Things game for a while, but I certainly did not expect it to be a 16-bit game. It's sort of...
Yeah, Stranger Things did not take place in the early 90s. I don't know. Right.
Also, it's called Stranger Things 3.
Yeah.
The game. Yeah. Which is like... What was the game? Was it the Goonies? The Goonies 2?
Goonies 2, yeah.
Because there's no Goonies 1, but it's just... Nope. I think this is just like that. Sort of like that.
Which, by
this
the way,
is going to be based on the story of Stranger Things Season 3, this show.
And the Goonies, the theme song to that was originally done by Cyndi Lauper, and then there was a really good video game cover band called The Advantage, and I realized that the Cyndi Lauper song was not good, but when filtered through an 8-bit cartridge and then reinterpreted by a video game cover band, I was like, hey, this is a good tune. Anyways. It needed that buffer of a cartridge, so...
So yeah, this game is kind of hard to describe. It just showed a lot of people like walking around sort of 2D isometric levels, and they talking to people. I really didn't look at it terribly closely, but I'm sure it'll be very... I watched the first season of Stranger Things. I'll be honest, I didn't love it. I didn't watch the second one. Not going to watch the third one. So, but I'm sure I have friends who are very, very interested in Stranger Things. So good for them. And it does look like it does look like a game that came straight out of the Genesis Super Nintendo era.
Yep.
It really looks the part of a sort of licensed game from that era.
It needs to be priced right.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the next one, Mortal Kombat 43 is coming out. That was You could have told me that there were 5 or 40, I don't know, but there's 11 apparently, which I guess makes sense because I do remember seeing Mortal Kombat 10 being a thing, but I can't remember anything from 3 to 10, so I think they're just lying to us at this point. But Mortal Kombat 11, that said, the trailer looked pretty sweet for that. I'm not going to lie. Seeing Raiden and Scorpion battle it out, that I was just like, whoa.
I hated that. I hated
Really? I thought, man,
I must say, the guy who, Ed Boon, basically one of the creators, and the guy who announced it, it was kind of funny. He was supposed to announce, I don't know if you saw the reveal, but he was supposed to announce the award for maybe best multiplayer game or something, and it was like, all right, let's go to the video for the nominees, and then it showed his trailer for this, and he's like, oh, that was definitely the wrong thing. I don't know what's going on there. Oh, here are the nominees.
That's
right?
Awesome.
That's awesome. And so, but like this guy, I've never really seen him in person, obviously, very much, but like he's such a nice looking guy, and he's like, clean cut and everything, and he's very he looks like he'd be a nice guy to sit down and just chat with, hang out with, whatever. But then he's like, yeah, here's what I made. Here's this blood and guts, pull the spine out, everything all over the place. Just awful.
I loved the Super Nintendo version of that didn't have blood. It just all the blood had been grayed.
All the sweat.
Yeah, just lots of sweat and spit. Just like these poor dehydrated fools that we keep throwing into the ring together. But no, I thought I have zero interest in buying this game. But as I was watching that trailer, I was like, this is everything that my 6th, 7th grade self pictured this being. I'm like, this is cool. This is great. So, yeah. Anyways, so yeah, Mortal Kombat 11, and it coming to Switch.
Right. It's Nintendo news because it's coming to the Switch. That is the interesting part of this story for me, honestly, because it hasn't been on the Switch since what, or any Nintendo system. Excuse me. It's like number 3, maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah, that seems about right.
Yeah. So it's coming back.
Yeah, that's cool. All right.
Well, those are the.
Yeah.
Well, no, there's more news.
There is
news stories, but we gotta talk some Smash, man. That's what we're here for. So
we do.
News story number 2 is that really what news story number 1 could have been. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is here, and spoilers, we like it.
It is a decent game. They had made a decent Smash game, so bravo to you, Nintendo. It's you did a decent job. So, all right, news item number 3.
Moving on. Yes. No.
Actually, we probably could just move on because we're going to talk about it a bunch when we get to what we've been playing.
That's true. Smash. So Smash is here. Enjoy that.
Yeah. Skip ahead to what we've been
3,
playing. You'll hear us talk about it.
Yeah. Number 3, the Nintendo Switch became the best-selling Nintendo console. This is a little old news because it came out shortly after we recorded the last one.
Yep.
Best-selling Nintendo console in U.S. history during Thanksgiving weekend. And I'd be interested to hear the update, a couple of weeks on from now in terms of where they're at in terms of their projections towards hitting that 20 million units from the last fiscal year.
Right.
I think they're definitely pretty darn close to being on track to hit that.
What did that mean? They had to hit like 34 total?
I think it's 38 because they had sold 18 million.
Okay.
And then they wanted to get 20 million more in the next little bit there. Let's see if I can find the right list here. So yeah, because of Black Friday, because of Cyber Monday. Let's see. There's a quote here that I had. In fact, according to Adobe Analytics, Nintendo Switch was among the most purchased. This is via IGN, by the way. Most purchased item online on Thanksgiving Day, and the overall top-selling video game product online for Black Friday / Cyber Monday period. That was a Nintendo statement from one of their press releases. So that's pretty great.
Yeah.
Seems like they're doing the thing. They're doing well.
Yep.
Cool. Number 4.
And this was in reply to our spilling the beans last week about widespread rumors. Nintendo did hear us talk about that, so they decided to, issue a statement. So Nintendo officially has no plans to release Skyward Sword on Switch. So unofficially, though, there are widespread rumors that what. So apparently
and
it's not
most
happening.
Nintendo fans breathe a sigh of relief. No. I like Skyward Sword. I don't love Skyward Sword. I just feel like this is the totally wrong time to release Skyward Sword right after Breath of the Wild.
Oh, yeah.
I think it should come eventually. But
I would play it if it came, but yeah.
Exactly, yeah. This is not the time for Skyward Sword. And number 5, according to Nintendo of America's Twitter account, Super Mario Party has sold over 1 million copies. That's surprising for me, honestly. Good for them. I'm excited for them. But I did not expect that to be the case. But then again, ARMS also sold over 1 million, and,
Yeah.
other games like that, that are sort of second tier sort of things. I guess with the install base now over 30-some million, you're pretty close to it, if not there yet. That's going to happen. So
Yep.
So cool. I'm excited. I mean, more sales for games means that more games will come, which is
Yep.
Nintendo's doing well. So, and that is the last official news story.
Do we want to do this last item for the end of the show?
Yeah, I was just going to see that.
Cool.
Yeah, I forgot this special section. So we'll just keep everyone in suspense about what that is.
Yeah, it is. I know.
They'll have to listen to the end now.
Yes, they will. All right. Well, why don't we get into our top 5? So coming up, we've got our top 5 Smash stages from Super Smash Ultimate. Coming up next. All right, we're back with our top 5. This week we are doing top 5 Smash stages, and we're talking from Ultimate. And
we were going to do top 5 Smash characters, but we're bad at video games and we don't have a lot of time, and we didn't have time to unlock all the characters.
I mean, I already know what my top 5 would be of that, anyways. But I'll save that for when we do that. So, but that's a little teaser for you if you know
we'll
me.
We'll definitely do it at some point for sure.
Yep.
But stages are great too, because there's a long history with them as well, and in Ultimate they're basically all unlocked from the beginning, which is kind of nice.
I do like that. Yeah, so I'll start with my honorable mention, and I only have one, and that would be one. And I was going to lie and say that I've played it. I haven't even played it. I've only just seen it, and it looks awesome. It's Pac-Land, and
No.
Brad is like, "No, it's a scrolling stage. It's terrible." But I don't care. It's Pac-Land, and that game has like. Ever since I was a little kid and saw Pac-Land, I was like, I've just been in love with the look of Pac-Land. So I am so glad it's on there.
It's such a bad Smash stage.
Oh, it's going to be great. I'm going to play it and love it in spite of you. So
the only good thing about those scrolling levels like that is that you can knock a computer player out pretty easily by just getting them towards the scrolling edge and then just smashing them into it.
Yes, that's great. Again, Pac-Land is awesome. So that's my honorable mention. How about you, Brad?
Oh boy. Well, okay, yeah. All right, so I have a couple of different honorable mentions. The ones that I've just really enjoyed over the years. One is Luigi's Mansion. Super kind of fun, spooky level, and then of course, the more that you wail on the stage, you're obviously playing within the 3 different floors of the mansion there on the stage, and then if you break enough of the support beams and whatnot, the whole building just collapses, and it's pretty neat. And then of course it restores after a certain amount of time. But so there's that, and then Pokemon Stadium. I believe it was the original that I liked the more. Is either Pokemon Stadium 1 or 2. I think it was the original I liked more. But just this one was one of the first stages I ever saw that sort of introduced the idea of a morphing stage that kind of changed as you went along, and just kind of gave some variety to that. It also had the cool feature of in the background, in the stadium there, it would show like who is currently winning, and just some different information about the different fighters and whatnot. So it's pretty cool. And then Mario Galaxy has a cool stage because it it was shaped like one of the bodies of like the celestial bodies, I guess you'd call them. And so it had that curvature to it, and in characteristic Smash Brothers over the top detail form, even when you throw items, they often move in the same like sort of parabola type arc that you would because of the gravity on that moon. So you actually had to be careful with how you threw things. So it was pretty neat. And then finally, my last honorable mention is the pirate ship from The Legend of Zelda: The Wind Waker, and partly just because the art style, of course, from Wind Waker is gorgeous and amazing, and I love being part of that. But also, I always loved playing this stage because it had great music, and it would constantly be shifting and changing with the waves, and then it would come up on a rock occasionally, and then there were just the fighting area constantly was moving, and just doing new cool things. And then of course you'd get smoked by bombs every now and then from some of the enemy ships. So, and I missed one at Gerudo Valley. I just had my first experience with this one with Smash Ultimate because I think it was a 3DS game. The Smash stage. And I own the game. I only ever played that game for like 3 hours, I think. So I did not unlock a lot of it. It wasn't because it was a bad game. Just, I don't know. I never liked the control setup on those smaller buttons and whatnot. And I knew when I bought it that I was waiting for the Wii U version that hadn't come out yet. So really, I mostly just ended up buying that game because it got me. When you buy both, you got the soundtrack for free. So I paid $40 for a soundtrack, I guess.
And 3 hours of fun.
That's right. It was a good time. But this stage for Gerudo Valley, I love the aesthetic from it. And of course, it's from Ocarina of Time, which is one of the best games ever. So those are my honorable mentions.
Cool. All right, well, I guess it's time to do our top 5 then. So my number 5 is the Great Cave Offensive. And as a Kirby main, I think it's a terrible stage to play, but it's a really great stage to look at. I really enjoy the aesthetic of it. And the lava is super annoying.
Yep.
But
very annoying.
It's cool to look at.
I guess you gotta differentiate between whether you actually like it as a stage to play on or to just look at. I don't know.
Yeah, because that's kind of where a lot of this will go for me is just the look of these levels. I think is really cool, and I also enjoy being able to go to like different chambers throughout the cave and like kind of just explore almost in this gigantic lava-laden cave that's really hard to navigate, but it's cool to look at. So yeah,
man, if you get hit by that lava in the middle of all those tunnels, you're done, and you're just like doing pinball all around the stage. It's nuts.
It's kind of funny when you are not the one that it's happening to. So, but yeah, so my number 5 is the Great Cave Offensive.
Oh boy! All right, my number 5 is Green Greens. This is the one of I think it came out in Melee originally, but it was one of the 2 Kirby stages, 2 or 3 Kirby stages that were there. And this is the one with all of the sort of the star blocks on either side of the tree area there, and they have exploding blocks in them, and so it creates for some interesting matchups where you can use the exploding blocks to your advantage, either to throw people into them or to hit it and then cause platforms to fall out from underneath people so they fall. And I think I'm blanking on it now. Does this have the tree that blows air around as well, or is that the other Kirby stage? That's this one throws what? Oh, right, yeah, that's right. The tree throws apples. Thanks, Brandon. Yeah. So, but either way, it still has some just moving elements there. It makes it interesting and fun. So, Green Greens, also great music.
Oh, definitely, yeah, I agree. Number 4, then. My number 4 is when I typed it out the first time, I typed out Gwar, and I was like, oh man, that's the 80s metal band that was not any good. But no, not Gwar, Gaur Plain. I don't know if you say Gaur or Gar or whatever you say, but because I never played Xenoblade, but it's the Xenoblade level, and it's so cool to look at. I love when oh gosh, what do they call this? What do they call the big mechs in Xenoblade? I should know.
I've never played a Xenoblade game.
Starts with an
Max.
S, I think. But anyways, I love when that shows up midway through the fight. I love that it can be day and night. I think it looks cool. And as this is a much different experience for me than Great Cave Offensive because I main with Kirby. And so there's a lot of room to be able to just like maneuver around in the air in this level. And I like that about it. While still having like some more subterranean areas that require a little bit more like ground skill. But yeah, I think that's a really cool level to look at and experience, and as it goes through the different phases of it, and especially as a Kirby main, I think it's really enjoyable to play too. So that's my number 4.
Easy to follow your death too.
There's but not with Kirby.
Right.
Unless I've hoovered someone in and then I take them down with me. So.
Awesome. All right, number 4 for me is the Boxing Ring. This one came out in the Wii U version with, of course, Little Mac. And I really just like the stage because it looks sweet. Like, there's all kinds of, the boxing ring itself, of course, with lots of audience members and lights and all these things. And speaking of the lights, it's an interactive part of the thing. There's a big rack of lights above the boxing ring itself, and you can fight above the lights. And you can actually do enough damage to the lights that they come crashing down on your enemies below you, and it's a really cool an element that just kind of gives a little keeps it a little more exciting as you go along. So that's a fun one for me.
Cool. Yeah, I think that one is like it's definitely the boxing ring you picture as a kid when you're playing Punch-Out. I think it's cool.
Right.
So
right.
All right, number 3 then. My number 3 is one that I've only played one time now, and I didn't do any like research on what like stages were coming to Ultimate, what was going to be new. So it was really cool when suddenly my next level was the Great Plateau Tower from Breath of the Wild, and I probably spent as much time just jumping around in the air with Kirby, trying to stay away from the action so that I could just look at the background. I was like, oh man, look, there's the castle. Oh, look at that. There's another tower. Oh, this is great. This is so fun.
There's the old man.
Yep.
Paragliding.
Yeah, I know. That was so cool. That was so cool. So, I think that's my way of saying I really like Breath of the Wild. But
is that how it goes?
I think it's a cool stage. I think it's great to look at.
I of course love, as what listeners will know, I love Breath of the Wild.
Not enough to beat it though.
I love the aesthetics of the background of that stage. I don't actually like the top of the tower itself.
It falls.
I feel like it gets in the way a
crumbles.
lot of the thing. Obviously, you can break that as well, and that's the nice part when you break free of that. But then it comes back. So
Yep.
That's the only thing I don't like about that stage. But it is a really neat area.
Yep. Cool.
So, all right. So my number 3 is Corneria from Star Fox. This is one of the original stages from the original Smash Brothers game, sort of updated and given new visuals in this game. Speaking of which, Smash Brothers Ultimate looks amazing.
Yes, it does.
Compared to the Wii U version, like the visual upgrade is substantial, which is pretty neat. For one reason or another, like I like Corneria, not necessarily because it's like super interesting to look at. I don't know. It has a nice long area of play. It's got a nice open area above, and it's got good music. And for one reason or another, throughout all the years of playing Melee and Brawl and Wii U and all that with my friends, we had this thing that we would do every time we'd play. That the very first stage that we played on in however many matches we played that day was always Corneria. Like we always started with Corneria, and then we could go to other stages or whatever. But we always started with Corneria. I don't know why we decided that. I think it was just one of my friends like, all right, we gotta do Corneria. Okay, we're doing Corneria. So it just kind of became a thing. So I've played a lot of Corneria. And even just saying that word over and over again. I did always think it was interesting, those guns in the front of the ship that you could sort of get up underneath if you were really talented.
Yeah.
But then
Yep.
die a lot trying to do that. Or I wish there was a better reward underneath there. But anyway, I do like that. The backgrounds change pretty cool. I guess I haven't really looked at it too much in Smash Ultimate yet, but that's a favorite of mine for sure.
Yeah, I like the guns on the ship. That
Right.
Oh, that's great. All right, on to our number 2. And for me, my number 2 is one that is new to Smash Ultimate, and that would be Dracula's Castle. This one, again, looks amazing. The dark, brooding atmosphere of it is just awesome. I love it with that stained glass window in the back, and it's just fantastic. So
Yeah, that's really good.
So I have again, I've played it once. I think I've probably played like 2.5 hours of Smash since I've gotten it, which is enough to play like, a third of the stages. So
and to lose about 12 challenger approaches.
oh
moments.
man, yeah.
That's
Yeah, that happens.
story of my life.
That does happen. So, but anyways, I got to play it once. I couldn't tell you too much about how the stage plays because I don't remember anything other than the feeling of it being great, and just like the darkness of it was. It just felt like it was like a glimmer of that feeling you used to get when you'd be playing like hide and seek out in your neighborhood at night with friends. It was just like, oh, this feels really like especially creepy. I don't know. It was good. So,
Right.
so that's my number
cool.
2.
My number 2 is another Kirby stage, Fountain of Dreams. This stage is just gorgeous. I absolutely love the aesthetics of this stage. The the glassy surface of the water, and it's just everything's shiny, so shiny, and just beautiful. Love it, love it, love it. Amazing music. The actual theme for Fountain of Dreams from the Kirby games is really epic. And I have just a lot of good memories of playing this stage. It's a very small stage. Wouldn't recommend playing 8-player Smash on it, but it was really fun for that sense too, especially if you're playing with like 4 players or whatever. It's kind of frantic and pretty interesting.
Did that one make its debut on the Wii U?
Melee.
Was it Melee?
Yeah.
Oh,
it was at least
man.
Melee, maybe Brawl.
Okay.
Or no, it was at least Brawl, maybe Melee.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah, Fountain of Dreams. Brandon, Melee? Really?
yeah. Yeah.
I'm looking this up right now because I played a ton of Melee and I don't remember it.
For the audio listeners, that was Brandon just chiming in. Apparently, it's a very popular one in the competitive scene because it's so small.
And it looks terrible in comparison. So
Yeah, it's come up a couple of times in the games. I think it's been in every iteration.
okay, all right,
So,
okay,
but yeah, just beautiful stage.
Cool.
And really fun place to be.
all right. And now we're on to our number 1. This is where you can disagree with us and be wrong, but that's okay. But we welcome your disagreements. But my number 1, and this is one that everyone's going to disagree with me on. But
I disagree. This is dumb. Real dumb.
no
Cheating.
way. It is the World of Light overworld. And because it looks so good, you're getting a theme with mine. If it looks good, it's on this list for me. And the World of
Not a
Light
stage. Definitely
is
not a stage.
it's an overworld. It's it's actually the reason I'm bringing this up is because as I was playing it and I was my wife Allison was watching, I said to her, I was like, this looks so good that I just want them to use this to make a separate RPG where this is the overworld. Like it's so gorgeous to look at that overworld. I think I'm 2.5 hours in, so I can't speak with authority on this, but I am saying that for me, to this point into it, it's the best single player experience I've had in a Smash game. And I think just the look of it and the feeling that you get playing that does a lot for that. But I mean, it just feels great. And I mean, the mechanics of World of Light are great in and of itself, but the spirit thing, I'm 100% on board with that. But I'm going just on aesthetic alone, and World of Light it scratches that itch for me. So, so there we go.
Yeah. I mean, I have to play a lot more of World of Light. I only probably played like an hour of it, maybe. And I'm really interested in I love how the matches are paired with. You know what? We're gonna get into that more.
We will
when we actually give impressions. Yep. But yeah, okay, World of Light. So the number one stage that Smash Bros. Has ever brought about is actually WarioWare Incorporated.
It is pretty sweet. My kids call it Mad Mom.
Wait, no. You're thinking of Gamer Stage.
Oh.
You're thinking of Gamer Stage. That is a pretty cool one as well, because that's the one where the mom just pops out and goes,
yes.
Ah!
Yep.
And just destroys everyone.
Yeah, they're like, she turns into a lion.
That's right. But WarioWare Incorporated is actually the one that's about... it basically puts you in the microgames
I'm looking at it.
Of WarioWare. Yep. And what's so cool about it is that it's so creative that you actually get to participate in these little 5-second mini games as you fight. So, for instance, there's one mini game, microgame, I guess it's a better way to call it, where you have to uncover a sculpture. And these are all taken directly from the actual WarioWare games. So you have to uncover a sculpture by hitting it enough, and each hit you do takes a little bit more of the excess stone away, I guess, to reveal the sculpture. And if you do it quickly enough, then you win. There's another one where you have to like pop certain balloons or something. You know, like there's all these little micro game things that you're used to from WarioWare games. But the cool thing is, if you are one of the people, if you are either the first person to complete the objective, or if you are one of the people who does what they ask you to do. So, for instance, one of the other mini games is like it just says taunt on the screen, and you have to do it at a specific moment in time. And if you're taunting when you do that, everyone who does it gets some kind of a buff. So you might get invincibility. You might turn metal. You might get like a stopwatch. You know, some kind of bonus item. And I think it's really cool because, you know, again, there's so many creative things like that. Probably my favorite is the one that says "Don't move." And so, you know, you're playing Smash, you're frantically trying to stay alive and beat up your friends, and then all of a sudden you're told to not move. And if you want to get the buff, you actually have to not move and trust that your friends are not going to either come and, you know, smack you or you know, whatever. So it's just really really clever, and it's definitely by far my favorite stage.
Cool. Sweet. All right. So feel free to write in and share with us your top 5 Smash stages. And
please do.
Yeah, we'd love to hear your thoughts on that. But we need to move on to the next section, which is what we've been playing. All right, we're back with what we've been playing. Brad, why don't you take the lead on this?
Well, I've been playing some Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, in case you hadn't figured that out by this point in the episode. I really like this game. It's fantastic. There's even without trophies, I'm still gonna have so much to do. I'm holding that against them. They need to put it back in. Anyway, there's just even just the very act of going through and playing battles and stuff and getting and unlocking characters. Man, I feel like every article that I see on websites and stuff about or discussions on Facebook or on forums or whatever about Smash is just like, hey guys, how do I get all the characters faster? Like, and honestly, I'm sitting there and thinking, enjoy the ride, man. This is how often do you actually get a Smash Brothers game? I honestly get excited every time I hear that sound and I see those silhouettes and everything.
Yep.
It's really cool. Even if I do lose like 3 out of 5 times in that, which they accounted for my awful gaming habits though, because they have a little thing where any challenger that you've faced before and lost to, there's a separate mode in the games and more screen, I think, that allows you to go back and try again, and you get to pick your character to fight them with. But yeah, it's just I've only probably played maybe 3 hours. So I'm kind of in the same boat as you, Mark, of maybe 3 hours or so so I don't have a ton of characters. I do have some and some old favorites, and I don't think I've actually gotten any of the new characters yet, but I'm definitely working on it, and I'm obviously going to get them all eventually. Played a little bit of the Spirits mode. Definitely interested to do more of that. And I've played, just a lot of several random matches with my friends, roommates here, whatever, and then played online with Brandon a little bit last night. That was fun, and so honestly, I spent like 45 minutes just going through, and I did barely even scratch the surface. I know I had to spend a lot more time doing this, but I'm one of those people who loves going into the music settings and setting the frequency of each track for every level, and I get a little obsessive about that. But it's one of my favorite things about the game is just how awesome the music is, and how I just love setting it up perfectly the way that I want it. So I spend a lot of the time that I was playing doing some of that and getting all my options set, setting up preset matches or preset rules, I guess. So I've got my standard 2-stock battle and my Pokemon Mania Pokeballs everywhere matches, and just those preset rules that are just really convenient for this game. I think people have been asking for that for a long time. And one of the features that I love the most, I think, for this that's definitely new to this, is stage morphing. Have you tried this at all, Mark?
I have not.
Oh, dude, you gotta check it out. It's in like the advanced settings within the preset rules, but basically if you activate it, you can, when you choose a stage, you actually choose 2 stages, and then you set the time interval for after a minute or after 2 minutes or a minute and a half or whatever it is, and then the stage will actually morph while you're playing from one stage into the next. And it's a fantastic way to, if you got 2 or 3 people playing, you're just covering a lot more ground that way, and just keeps the variety up. I love that. It's excellent.
That's cool.
So those are my sort of highlights from Smash. We're going to be talking about it for several weeks now, so don't be don't worry about it. It's the game is firing on all cylinders. It's just it carries on the legacy of what Melee did. Super Smash Bros. The original was a great game, but it was very simple in all things considered. When they made Melee, they just completely outdid themselves.
Yep.
Like the incredible amount of everything that they added to that game. And in every time you get a new Smash game, you're just like, how the heck are they going to top this? How can they cram in anything else into this game? And they just continue to do it. So bravo to that team. And Mr. Sakurai, of course, who will still be working on this in 2033. Just really, I'll let you get to it. I got a couple other things to go through real quick. Some other things playing. Another game that came out on December 7th was the Genesis Classics, the Sega Genesis Classic Collection or whatever. And as I mentioned before, I was very excited about that because it finally gives me a way to play Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine on my Switch, which is the best Puyo Puyo game out there. So I've definitely been playing a little bit of that as well. Continuing to play Mark of the Ninja. I really want to get... so Guacamelee 2 actually comes out tomorrow, which I'm excited about. But I've determined in my mind I am not going to get that game until I finish Mark of the Ninja. Because number 1, Mark of the Ninja is great. And number 2, my backlog is already large. Played a little bit more Zelda, of course. Also been playing a whole bunch of Hitman 2 because that game just has so much content. I had a great time with that recently. Playing a new level recently, or just today, really. It's a really fun situation where you're trying to find this guy, but they don't actually show you his face. You have to find out who he is in this giant city in Mumbai, and so you have to. It was just this great situation where I became a barber, or a person who does shaves for guys, and So then you start taking these customers into your barbershop there and giving them shaves, and you just hear all the scuttlebutt from them, and you learn more about this character, this person, this evil person who you're trying to find, and then eventually you find out who he is, you track him down, you get him to come back to your barbershop, and then you go all Sweeney Todd on him.
That's awesome.
So I sorry if that was a mild spoiler for some people, but that's just one way that you can take, one of many, many ways that you can go about doing that mission. It was really neat. So Hitman 2, don't sleep on it. It's awesome. And finally, Just Cause 4. Also got that game. I only played like an hour of it, but I just love Just Cause. You just blowing stuff up, and it's great. And this game has all the more ways to blow stuff up. So
nice.
That's it.
Cool. I've been playing Smash, obviously, and I'm just it's great. It's so good. It's so good. I did play online. It was a little bit laggy. I was a little bit disappointed about that. I'm hoping they can get that ironed out. But that was for only one match, so I'm not too concerned about that. So I probably played online for about an hour, and then I've done a couple hours of just single player. I did probably half an hour of just playing Smash, and then I got into World of Light, and I've probably unlocked I've unlocked like the lower left quadrant of the map. So
Okay.
I just can't wait to see how that unfolds. So it's cool.
Mhm.
So I love the soundtrack. I love the soundtrack. It's so cool to go back and be like, ooh, Mega Man songs in a new setting. Let's listen to it. So it's great. So
I mean, how could you not? There's something for everyone.
Yep.
And their brother and
Yep.
sister and mom, and like there's 900 plus songs in this.
it's
game.
amazing.
Like,
I think
how do you not find something that you like?
I think the winner of the Mega Man stuff for me, oh man, gosh, I don't know. Top Man was really good. Napalm Man was great. Dark Man. Oh, there were so many. Oh, yeah. I'm a huge fan of the Mega Man soundtracks of old, and yeah, they did a great job with this. So, anyways, yeah, Smash is it's so good. So I've been playing a bit of that the last few days. I also Bloodstained Curse of the Moon was on sale over Thanksgiving for like $6 or something like that. Bought it. It took about 3 hours and beat it. Really, really good, tight, focused gameplay. It feels great to play, like an old school Castlevania type game. I posted a picture on Facebook just saying it feels just like riding a bike. It's like, oh yeah, I'm right back there, like Castlevania 3. It felt like it. So, a couple really tough, frustrating parts, but overall just really well designed, and all as what was that? Didn't you say it was a Kickstarter incentive? Like, oh, if you guys can hit this much, I'll make another game. Okay.
Right. Side note: be careful what you promise.
Yeah.
I mean, like they were just talking about this on NBC. They were just talking about this on NBC recently with Shovel Knight. Like, they promised like 4 years ago, they would make all this free DLC, and they've to their huge credit, Yacht Club Games has held to it, and they've done it, and it's all been free. But man, 4 years.
I know.
Maybe don't be quite so ambitious in your promises for that kind of stuff.
Yep. So yeah. Anyways, Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, really good game. If you liked old school Castlevania, you absolutely need to get that game. So I loved that one. And a cool soundtrack too. And then I actually rented Mario Party, and man, I get why it sold 1 million. It's Mario Party, and it feels great. I played it with my kids as well, and they loved Slapperazzi, a mini game where you're trying to punch people out of the way to try and be the closest to the frame of the toad that's taking the picture. And there's a circle of like, this little arena, and a toad will run up and take a picture. I think it's a toad. And then, anyways, you're just trying to like punch people out of the way to be the first. And
right.
The mini games in it are so good. They are so good. So, if I were,
I really want to try it.
If I were younger, I would play so much of this game. So, and I'm going to try and fit in as much of it over break as I can. So, yeah. Also been playing Octopath Traveler. I'm down to my final 3 chapter 4s to finish up, and that game. Oh man, that game. I love it. So, the soundtrack gets so cool too. Like every time you get, like every boss in chapter 1, 2, 3, 4 has a different theme, and the way they like work different elements of the characters' themes into the boss's theme. It's just so cool. So Octopath, I can't wait to see how that wraps up. And then Fortnite Season 7 and Planes. And that's awesome. And I've had a lot of really good dogfights. And I love that you can jump on the wings of a plane and stand on it and shoot other people as you're flying around the island. It's so great. I thought I was done with Fortnite, and I'm back in, not nearly as heavy as I was when I first got into it 6 months ago. But it's fun. I play it like once a week for an hour, and it's great. And I lose every time, but it's still fun. So anyways, that's
you gotta hand it to them. They continue to refresh that game and make it new. And
yep, and they're not gonna get a penny from me, but it's free. It's free. It's so good. But I probably should pay for a season pass at some point, but whatever. So yeah, that's what I've been playing. So
awesome.
All right. Next up,
we're gonna go on now.
Yeah, we've got a really fun soundtrack retrospective coming up for you right after this. All right. We are back with our soundtrack retrospective, and this is on all of the opening main themes from Smash Brothers games. And well, Brad, why don't
there's a lot of good stuff.
There is.
There's a long tradition here of the way that they create music for these games. It's really fun. Like the first one, Super Smash Brothers, not quite as much in this vein. The first track that you're going to hear, which we'll get into in just a second, is really just the music behind the sort of the opening cinematic of, basically how it's all about, of the toys in that bedroom that kind of come to life and all that. So you'll hear sound effects and whatnot that are associated with that. But basically around the time that Melee came around, they really they would create this one main theme that would go for each game, and then they would do a lot of different variations on it for the different modes in the game. And so it became a really cool starting point for a lot of those. And obviously, outside of these main themes, Smash Brothers has some of the best soundtracks ever because it has all the soundtracks.
That's true.
If they made like a physical soundtrack for Smash Brothers Ultimate, it'd be like 3,000 CDs and just like
they should release it on cassette tape.
That's right, 8-track. Why not? Okay, so what you just heard as at the beginning of this segment was the beginning of the opening of the Super Smash Brothers, the original thing. And so I actually, when I was researching for this, I hadn't listened to this in a long, long time, and the first thing I thought when I heard that opening is The Simpsons. It totally has that vibe. But then, yeah, it just kind of has this it keeps going, right? It just kind of goes along with that. I don't know if it was actually influenced by that, but man, it definitely gives that vibe. And then these weird sound effects that go into it. And then all of a sudden you're into this much more intense,
very chaotic
kind of tune. Yeah, very chaotic and weird. Very percussive. And then later on, all of a sudden, I don't know exactly what time frame it is, but it's a little bit later. It's going to get into the Star Fox theme. There you go.
Yeah, I like that. That it is so chaotic because it's kind of befitting of what you're about to do. Like especially the first time you're playing a Smash game back in the day, like it's chaos. It's like what? All of these characters in one game, all 12 or whatever there were in the first.
Yeah. And then he says, And there begins the announcer's fame of
over the top. I love it.
Over the top. It's great. So Super Smash Brothers, the original, does a lot of cool things. Let's move on though, because Super Smash Brothers Melee is where again things really took off with these opening cinematics and these themes. This is actually so I was trying to decide, do I want to actually show the music behind the opening cinematic or the actual menu theme? And really for me, it's the menu theme that's more iconic, even though they're both great. And so this is the menu theme right here.
Oh man. Yep, we just said that. Oh man.
So many memories associated with this theme. And really, this soundtrack is just a great opportunity for us to sort of, look back on these games in general. Super Smash Bros. Melee, I think I may have told the story on the show before, but it was just an awesome game in many respects. But when I first got it, I was really kind of underwhelmed. I never owned the first Smash Bros. Game, but I saw this game just getting these incredibly high scores. And I was like, oh man, I gotta get this. This looks great. But I took it home and I booted it up and, played a few matches, and then I was like, oh, that's what this is. Okay. And then I put it down and I was a little bit disappointed, honestly. But then, later on, I came back to it, the next day or whatever it was, and I started diving more into, oh man, here's this classic mode, and then, hey, here's this adventure.
That adventure mode?
All-Star mode.
Yeah.
Not adventure mode.
What was the side-scrolling level?
That was from Brawl.
No. There was the side-scrolling levels from Melee.
Were there? Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm thinking classic mode. I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, the point is, much later, I was still unlocking and playing and just so much time in this game. But we're here to talk about the soundtrack. Anyway, so I really like this theme in general because it's got a nice, tuneful melody, some great percussion ostinato going on in the background.
Nice sounding timpani too, even.
Yeah, especially for the the technology at the time. I like the different orchestrations of the theme. It happens in. Here's a great French horn setting for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then later on, you're going to hear, sort of in the more lyrical section there, you're going to hear the flute play the melody and some bits and pieces of trumpet playing in there. But you can still hear the original motif, even though it's so more lyrical. Here's the flute.
Man, I don't know how hours and hours that I've heard this song in my life, but
right.
Yeah.
So they definitely knocked it out of the park with that. It was pretty awesome. Now, this next one for Super Smash Bros. Brawl is honestly probably my favorite of all five. This took the epicness of the opening cinematic to a whole new level. Full orchestra, live orchestra, by the way, full choir, and some amazing vocal soloists that you'll hear in a little bit. But man, there's actually, they're singing words, obviously, and I believe at one point I remember I saw online somewhere there's actually a translation of these words. I don't know what language it's in, but it's about different battles and fighting your foes and whatnot. But it's based on real text, which is pretty neat. But listen to these soloists, man. The vocal quality and the duet there.
This is I'm not gonna lie. This is the first time I've heard this. I never played.
What?
I didn't play Brawl.
Oh man. Well, now you know. But listen, the way it builds up, and it's incredible. Sorry. I gotta stop myself from singing along because the listeners are probably like, what is he doing? But some great brassy fanfares behind there. Again, the live orchestra thing, it really, they never do it again. In all of the Smash Bros. Games, it's all, good sounding MIDI stuff, but it's never quite the same as this. This was just so epic sounding. And then, like I said, they take this and they mix and match it with the different like if you're doing the trophy challenges or if you're doing the multi-man smash or other thing, there's all different variations on that same theme. That's a thing. So that I think is my favorite of all of the Smash themes. So any other thoughts on that? I know you just heard it, but
yeah, no,
impressions.
I love those vocal solos. That's really, really cool. So
yeah, very neat. All right, moving right along here. We are on the Smash Brothers 4 main theme. This is particularly the one from the Wii U, but they're essentially the same thing. And here is that. This one definitely took it much more back in the direction of the electronic music, but still very, very exciting and very highly percussive. And it's a great rhythmic groove. Constantly. It's got the melodies kind of constantly escalating, getting higher.
Man, I haven't heard this in probably 3 years, but
yeah. Things my middle school percussionist couldn't play. And then there's if you let it play for a little bit, there's a very sort of heavy guitar and drum section. I think it's about a minute or so, a little more than a minute maybe. Yeah, we're coming up on it here shortly. This is just a really fun melody.
I love this.
And very intense.
That's great.
Jump ahead here just a little bit. Yeah. I'm trying to get to the guitar section here. Here it is.
Yeah.
A little over the top, maybe.
Yeah.
But a little heavy.
Maybe slightly ham-fisted, but I'm okay with it still. I'm okay with it.
Yeah. But listen to the drum fills.
Yep.
Dude,
that's when I was talking with a guy who does a lot of studio work, and he'll program drum parts every once in a while, and he's like, yeah, all my drummer friends make fun of me every time I write a drum fill on a, when I'm just like using electric drums to put something in. He's like, they always say, why do you have to use every tom on all of your fills? And he's like, I don't know. I know. He's like, I just thought that's what you do. But
it's like every beginning jazz drummer who has all their rock backgrounds and just like just don't mean nothing.
Yeah. Oh man, the Nirvana version of it, "Don't Mean a Thing." That's a great tune.
Awesome. All right, and finally here we are at Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. This is pretty great. Sort of getting more back to the more orchestral style that we had before. And I didn't put in the vocal version here, but there is a version of this that actually has English lyrics.
I really enjoy that. I really like it. Yeah,
okay.
I do.
I like the musical version, the instrumental version more, but yeah.
It took me but the first listen, I wasn't sold. But then I was just like, you know what? This fits. Like, this is the Switch. Like, Mario Odyssey had all those great vocal things that I on first listening to, I was like, you can't do vocals in a Mario game. And then I was like, wait, it's actually really good. And last battle as Bowser is like incredibly rad. Like, I love that song. So
for sure.
I'm okay with the words. I like it. So
I just like, this is a very, very hummable melody. It repeats a lot, and it's very simple, but that takes you through some modulations, and they do use different instrumentation and whatnot, and so it's just really exciting and fun to listen to. Some different styles here. Get the strings involved. Still don't think this is a live orchestra. I still think it's more high quality samples, but very, obviously our listeners, if you have Smash, you listen to this quite a lot currently, but it's just an excellent thing. So
I actually hadn't listened to the instrumental version much. I hadn't gotten that far, so that's interesting. I like it. So Brad, what kind of score would you give this?
as thinking of it as a collective whole, with the ups and downs, mostly ups, I would definitely give this at least 8 up Bs out of a Falcon Punch.
Ooh.
What do you think?
Yeah, maybe out of 2 Falcon Punches.
Well, yeah, but then you got to say Falcon Punch.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. And then it needs to double because it's so powerful. So 16 up Bs.
Right.
Okay. Great. That's a good score. All right.
Yeah. So now you know. We know you've been waiting so long for that.
Yeah. Awesome.
Oh.
All right.
So there's our soundtrack retrospective review, and my friends, it has been a long night, and we have one last thing we want to do. We got some mail that we want to read from you, and this is a particular note because this is a good friend of Mark's that wrote in. You may remember a little game he talked about called Cerobo. There was an iOS game, or is it Android as well, or is it just?
That's a good question. I've played it on my iPhone. I don't know if it's Android.
Okay,
but
so it's a mobile. We'll say it's a mobile game, at least iOS. I actually haven't got a chance to play it myself, but I really want to download it soon. Anyway, Caleb Klomperens, is that how you say it? Klomperens?
Klomperens, yeah. And he is my first cousin once removed.
Okay, great.
Or twice removed?
So
I don't know how it works. He's my cousin's son.
Anyway, Caleb writes in and says, this is Caleb Klomperens, the programmer behind the iOS sensation Cerobo. And now a contractor at Nintendo Technology Development.
Which is awesome.
That's exciting. Congrats on that. I've been listening to your podcast regularly since August and really had a fun time hearing your takes on crazy news that has been brewing over here. Rest assured, I'm super excited for Smash Ultimate to release as well. We should duke it out sometime. It's
you
great
would
to hear your
crush
perspectives.
us, Caleb. Would it be close?
Almost
Sorry,
certainly.
I won't interrupt.
Definitely. It's great to hear your perspectives on the golden era of console gaming. Some of my first exposure to classic games has either been from you, LOL, that's Shatterhand box art, or the Switch Online Library. I really enjoy that you two have a passion for music, composition, and soundtracks. I myself have been composing electronic music for a few years now, and he gives a link for his SoundCloud link, which is soundcloud.com/cable channel with a K, K-A-B-L-E channel. And I similarly got blown away by the soundtrack of Octopath Traveler, regularly playing it over and over again.
Yep.
And then he says, it might be fun to talk with you guys in person sometime. Thanks a lot. Best, Caleb.
Yeah, maybe we could have him on as a guest at some point and do some behind-the-scenes interviewing of, nothing NDA, that would, but yeah, that'd be sweet. And by the way, Caleb, there will definitely be a full soundtrack review of Octopath coming up at some point. So, fantastic game. So, but thank you for writing in.
Yeah, and you too could have your email read on the air. So definitely send this in. Speaking of which, this just broke. we got an email from Brandon Pruitt. He says, Mark is wrong. Pac-Land is terrible. So,
but it looks great.
All right, my friends, that is the end. We did it. We made it.
We did.
Got through the Smash-ageddon. Sorry. So that's basically the end. And we just want to encourage you, and we want to thank you first for listening. All those of you out there who are been doing so. Of course, we want to look forward to upcoming content. We've got, like I said last time or earlier in the show, we have our upcoming live show. We do this a couple of times a year. This is our big end of the year game, end of the year awards, game of the year awards show. We had a great time with it last year. There was a melodica that showed up. It was fun.
It was.
Cannot confirm whether or not that'll come back. But it should be a whole lot of fun. We are planning to do that on December. So we're actually doing it a day or so after we would normally record.
Yeah.
I think the next officially record date is the 27th of December, but we're going to push it back a day or so.
Probably the 29th. Probably that Saturday is when we'll probably do this. Maybe the 30th. Maybe the Sunday afternoon as well. One or the other, but...
Yep, and just look for we'll post stuff on the Facebook page well in advance so you know what's going on.
Yep.
So just and then probably on Twitter as well. So you can find us on the podcasting channels and things. You can find us on iTunes. We'd greatly appreciate it if you go to iTunes, Really help us out. Get some. If you give us a 5-star review there, that would super helpful to us. Go, give the show some more visibility, expose it to more people, and you can find us on Twitter at N_Directors, on YouTube at Nintendo Directors, and you can write into the show. The address for doing so is Nintendo Directors Podcast at gmail.com. My name is Brad Beyer. This is my co-host Mark Lego, and we want to say thank you so much.
Keep playing Smash. Bye-bye.
Bye.